Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadeshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 12, text 20, devotional service. Ye tu dharmamritamidang. Ye tu dharmamritamidang. Yaktoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye tu dharmamritamidang. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye tu dharmamritamidang. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Tu dharmamritamidam. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye tu dharmamritamidam. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye tu dharmamritamidam. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Ye tu dharmamritamidam. Yathoktam paryupasate. Shradadhana mat parama. Bhaktaste tiva me priya. Yea, those who, to, but, dharma, of religion, amritam, nectar, idam, this, yata, as, yuktam, said, paryupasate, completely engage, shradadhana, with faith, mat parama, taking me, the Supreme Lord, as everything, bhakta, devotees, te, they, ativa, very, very, may to me, priya, dear. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Please repeat. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. See, not only in Hindi do they repeat themselves, but in English too. Very, very dear. Purport. In this chapter, from text 2 through the end, from Maya Vaishya Mano Ye Mam, fixing the mind on me, through Ye Tu Dharmamritamidang, this religion of eternal engagement, the Supreme Lord has explained the processes of transcendental service for approaching Him. Such processes are very dear to the Lord, and He accepts a person engaged in them. The question of who is better, one who is engaged in the path of impersonal Brahman, or one who is engaged in the personal service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was raised by Arjuna, and the Lord replied to him so explicitly that there is no doubt that devotional service to the Personality of Godhead is the best of all processes of spiritual realization. In other words, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The impersonal conception of the Supreme Absolute Truth, as described in this chapter, is recommended only up to the time one surrenders himself for self-realization. In other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with a pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. In the impersonal conception of the Absolute Truth, one works without fruitive result, meditates, and cultivates knowledge to understand spirit and matter. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. Fortunately, if one develops directly a desire to engage in Krishna consciousness in pure devotional service, he does not need to undergo step-by-step improvements in spiritual realization. Devotional service, as described in the middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, is more congenial. One need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of devotional service. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dedati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So we've been hearing a lot of nectar in Bhagavad Gita. Just as Lord Kapila was explaining to Mother Devahuti, his dear mother, he said, I will explain this imperishable science of yoga again. And it's described that Lord Kapila, being a great authority, incarnation of Krishna, could have very easily made another philosophy, another process, as is very common in this age of Kali Yuga, self-made yogis and gurus. And I remember even once I was in West Virginia, and at that time there was some thoughts that this particular guru there in West Virginia in the mountains was the Acharya, so he could change the process because he's the Acharya. We could try something new, something different. But Lord Kapila was teaching the same imperishable path of devotional service to his mother that Krishna taught to Arjuna. And Krishna said, I taught this millions of years ago to the sun god. So here we are, lucky as we are, that Srila Prabhupada is teaching us the very same path of devotional service, this bhakti yoga, bhaktya mama vijananti, yavanyaschasmi tatvataha, tyakva dehang punarjanma naiti mamiti so Arjuna. That by this path of bhakti, of devotional service, one can achieve the highest goal of life. So here again they're addressing the idea of what is, whether the impersonal path or the personal path. So much was discussed in this process of devotional service. I remember when I first became interested, I was attracted by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi because I saw him on television back in the mid-70s, and I thought, yes, this is a good process. I should try this transcendental meditation because it seems very mystical, very interesting. And so I went to several classes, a friend of mine and then we bought the Bhagavad Gita. It only has 6 chapters. It goes up to 6 chapters and it stops there. And they talk in a very, mystical way about the absolute truth. And so it says here that if one cannot directly be fortunate enough to take up the process of devotional service, then this path could be somewhat beneficial until he reaches that. I know someone asked a question in one of Prabhupada's classes whether it's okay to worship Lord Shiva. As long as you recognize that Lord Shiva is servant of Krishna and Krishna's representative, then it's okay to worship. But if you think he's a separate competitor god, that he's also the Supreme Lord, and Shiva, and then you get confused. So I was reading Bhagavad Gita and doing my mantra that, you have to pay a price, you pay for the initiation mantra. It's actually a little bit of some of the Gayatri mantra. They give some seed words. So my friend and I, we were practicing for a couple of years, actually, this Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And then I remember I met the devotees. Actually, my barber was a devotee. I had hair back then, believe it or not. And we were discussing Bhagavad Gita. I said, yes, I'm reading this one Bhagavad Gita by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He said, oh, very nice, but you should really take this Bhagavad Gita as it is. It has, 18 chapters. Oh, mine only has 6 chapters. So I felt a little cheated that I only had 6 chapters. He had 18 chapters. And then he was explaining many things. So I bought the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, and then had a chance to understand more clearly as I read Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. So it like burned into you. Maybe we were doing a lot of drugs back then, I don't know. But it was very impressive and very awakening. It was very enlightening that it makes much more sense. It makes it, much more feeling and understanding. So fortunately enough, we met devotees, chanted Hare Krishna, and then had a chance to meet the pure devotee. It's describing here how when one meets the pure devotee of the Lord, then he, a couple of times it actually described, the bona fide spiritual master, when he meets such a person, he accepts, let's see, bona fide. In this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master. And from him, he begins to hear and chant and observe the regular principles. And that it says, in other words, as long as one does not have the chance to associate with the pure devotee, the impersonal conception may be beneficial. So we knew that Maharishi was the founder of TM, Transcendental Meditation, and this and that. But we really never had the association of a pure devotee. It was more that you can become a better student, you can become better at this and better at that, and pretty much all the allurements of being successful in the material world and expanding your consciousness at the same time. Really no understanding of getting free from the cycle of birth and death, or that God, the Supreme Person, exists and He's the creator of everything and everyone, and we're meant to serve Him and get out of this miserable place. That wasn't really the fact. Matter of fact, I remember that when we were in Washington, D.C., there was a bicentennial, and Srila Prabhupada was giving a class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, I believe. And I remember a friend of mine, he came, because we were both at one time doing this transcendental meditation, and he asked Prabhupada a question. He said, well, this TM is like taking the elevator, same analogy, by using this one little mantra. You don't have to go through all the rigor of, Mangal Artik and chanting and following regular principles and studying scripture and living a monistic lifestyle. It seems like a lot of work you've got to go through from early in the morning. I mean, how many people, you get up at 3 in the morning, take bath, chant mantras, my tilak wore off, by the way, but put on tilak and you study the scripture and perform austerities, rules and regulations, so much to be done in spiritual life, and enthusiastically giving your life to your guru, serving day and night, without any desire or aspiration for personal gain. It's almost, people, when they look at it, think it's like slave mentality. Why have you submitted to a guru who's using you like a slave? This is the misunderstanding that why don't you get a good education, get a good job, make lots of money and be happy? But they have no example of that in this world because it doesn't really exist. It's all the illusion, the carrot, dangling in front of you, the carrot. So he was asking the question that, yes, this TM is like getting in the elevator, and Srila Prabhupada explained that there are many hundreds of versions of Bhagavad Gita, and many teachers or so-called gurus who come and they try to water down the philosophy and adjust the teaching in such a way as to get many followers, money, and although there's some benefit, there's some knowledge or understanding, the ultimate truth is covered over. So this, anyway, my friend Mark eventually went away, because he wasn't, it's not easy to actually surrender to the process of Krishna consciousness. But it says but Krishna makes it easy, although throughout this chapter is describing that it is difficult, so many attachments we have in our hearts, so many desires, so many wants and misidentifications, life after life, and very deeply ingrained in us, and our bodily identification is hard to shake it off, that we're all thinking we are what we are. But Krishna says it easy. Sarva dharman parijya mamikang sharanam vraja. Just surrender to me. Imagine you're suffering, you're struggling, and the king says, just surrender to me and I'll protect you from all this pain. Okay, I surrender, but genuinely surrender. Surrender means that you're defeated in a battle when you're struggling and everybody around you is being slaughtered and you're wounded, almost, your life is almost finished. What do? I surrender. You take out the white flag. Okay, I had enough. I give up. I surrender. But that dog obstinacy, as Prabhupada says, that sometimes we're so stuck on our ego and our false identification, wanting to enjoy in this world, that we go down repeatedly, suffer that death, unknowing the truth. But the surrender process becomes joyful, becomes happy. Because when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna actually takes care. I'm the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Krishna on Garuda, the Supreme Lord, comes, and there we are struggling in the ocean. We're drowning in the ocean of material existence and going down. And Krishna, if you have a secret, he finds you by the secret or braid of hair, whatever it might be, and he takes us out of this struggling condition of material life and brings us back to the spiritual kingdom. So this is the process of devotional service. This is actually a personal relationship with Krishna. Because of association with a pure devotee, we develop the direct desire to engage in Krishna consciousness. There's no need to undergo the step-by-step process anymore. It's like if one wants to make something very difficult, Krishna says, okay, you can't surrender right away, then just work for me or give the fruits of your labor to me. And if for some reason your family doesn't want you to be associated with Krishna consciousness and you can't think of me, you can't surrender to me, then, give in charity. All these things will help you. But the best process, man manabhav madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru, think of me, become my devotee, worship me. Kirtayanto mang yatantas chadrita prata. Anyway, vyavasayatmaka buddhir ekeha kuru nandana, bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. That one-pointed determination, that vyavasayatmaka buddhir, that our intelligence is fixed on Krishna, our determination that we want Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. But those who are wanting sense gratification, their mind is many-branched. They cannot focus their mind on anything tangible, so they're always chanchala, fickle. So Krishna consciousness is a very joyful process. What is that verse? Raja Vidya Raja Goyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Shavaganam dharmyam shushukam kartumavyayam. Raja Vidya is the king's knowledge. Rajaguyam, very confidential. Raja Vidya Rajaguyam, pavitram, purifying, very pure, exalted knowledge is the original teaching of the Supreme Lord. And it's everlasting, joyfully performed in this process. So we were hearing this morning from Srimad Bhagavatam class about Varnashram Dharma, and the question was, how do we practically apply this Varnashram Dharma? And Bhanavata Prabhu was saying, well, it's very difficult. Actually, in this age, it's covered over. It's because of Kali Yuga, there's no good qualities. People are very short-lived. They're always disturbed. They're unlucky. And this is the symptoms of Kali Yuga. And because we're all Jagais and Madhais, Prabhupada was actually giving a lecture, and he said that all my followers are like Jagai and Madhai. So, but now they're following nicely, because he said everyone's like Jagai and Madhai. And with Kali Yuga, we're all interested in intoxication, sense gratification, and we know all the stuff that Kali Yuga presents. So we're all interested in these kind of things. But if we know and we're hearing from the Guru that it's not going to make us happy, and that ultimately we'll be frustrated and disappointed, that there's a higher taste, there's a better secret, a better way of actually, being happy. And what is that? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. That by hearing, chanting, remembering the Supreme Lord, Kirtayantam. How does that verse? Anyway, and Bhagavad Gita describes always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination. Satatang kirtayantamang. Huh? Yes. Very beautiful verse. That if we're chanting and dancing, this is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is given by the Supreme Lord. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalua nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. There is no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way. And although we may try to apply Varnashram Dharma, and there may be some, basic formation of it, in Kali Yuga, the best process is chanting the Lord's holy name. And by chanting the holy name, it cleans the mind, the heart, cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadevagni nirvapanam. By cleaning the heart, cleaning the mind, we get a clear understanding of the purpose and goal of life. And the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, those who are fortunate enough to see that Prabhupada is still here with us, when you're hearing his lectures, or you're reading Bhagavad Gita, you're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, living in Prabhupada's home. I have a home in Florida, so both my sons live there, my grandsons live there, and I think it's nice, the sons and grandsons are living in the home, makes you feel good. So when Prabhupada understands that all his sons, daughters, grandsons, granddaughters are all living together, working together to carry out his business. And what is his business? His business is his father's business, his Guru Maharaj's business. His business is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's business, the Goswami's business. So we're all in a family, and it's more intimate that way. That, of course, all temples are like Prabhupada's home, but we know Vrindavan Dham in particular, whenever Srila Prabhupada was ill, even in America, he would immediately go back to Vrindavan, not thinking in a scared way or anything. He felt Krishna's protection. But he recovered in Vrindavan and went out again like a powerhouse preaching all over the world. But then again, he was ready to leave. It would be nice to leave in Vrindavan, and he showed. even when he was very, very sick, we see the picture, he went to London for preaching, and he had many aspirations to do many things, but he's here. He's here in Samadhi, but even while in Samadhi, he's still vigorously preaching. So many books are going out, so many devotees are inspired for. You go in the temple room right now, it's probably roaring with kirtan, isn't it? Why do people like to come to Krishna Balaram Mandir? Because the deities are so alive and so beautiful. And they never see kirtan like that. Everyone jumping and dancing and chanting, going down, a little deaf maybe, but it's nice. We're all sitting together in a family spirit. And Krishna says, I'm not in the heart of the yogis and the meditators or the great brahmanas reciting big shlokas. I'm there where my devotees are glorifying me, isn't it? Krishna's here because we're trying to glorify Krishna. So Krishna is present. Of course, he's within every atom. He's in every atom, every molecule, everywhere. But then to feel his presence, I'm in the taste of water. So you're drinking water, you think, oh, Krishna's there. I'm in my deity form. Oh, so beautiful, Krishna. I'm in my holy name. So devotees are chanting more and more and dancing. So it's a joyful process that Krishna has given us. And as they say, when the parrot tastes the fruit, it becomes even sweeter. So Prabhupada's made it even sweeter so that we can all taste Krishna consciousness. Because without that, taste of Krishna consciousness, it's difficult to overcome the allurements and the temptations of the material world. And they always come. Maya's always there, around every corner. One devotee was complaining to Srila Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, Maya's everywhere. Even, he's in the temple. He was making some point that Maya's very strong. Prabhupada said, you show me where there is no Maya, we shall all go there. He made that comment. Show me where there's no Maya, we shall all go there. So Maya is available and all-pervading and always ready. 24-hour service she gives. Yeah. Never down. But we can be protected just like Lakshman. He gave a protective field for Sita Devi. Yeah, just stay in that protective field and you'll be okay. But don't go outside. Otherwise, Maya, the risk of illusion is there. So Prabhupada made a protective field for us in the form of the association with devotees, the holy name, prasadam, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all these things. It's a very simple philosophy, but then again, it's been a long conditioning in this material world, so we have to always, like a disease, some diseases are very, very strong, very powerful. You start getting a little bit better, and if you become negligent and don't take your medicine, you can have a relapse. We have a doctor, she'll tell you. If you're not careful to get all the poison out and heal completely, then you can get a relapse and again you become diseased. So there's no loss. There's no loss, no diminution in this process of devotional service. Even a little advancement can protect us from the most dangerous type of fear. What is that? Repetition of birth and death, forgetting our relationship again with Krishna. And even if we go away, Krishna says that once you've started the process of bhakti, that he'll give another chance, take birth in a good family. Maybe we've been fortunate to take birth so we can meet devotees of Prabhupada, or Prabhupada. We're somehow fortunate. Maybe it's just causeless mercy. Not that any of us are anything special, but we've been made special. one of my favorite verses, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. We're wandering everywhere, lost in the material world, birth after birth, planet from this universe, that universe, this species of life, that species of life, finally, human form of life, finally. And by Bhagyavan, one who's very fortunate, Guru, Krishna, Kripa, the mercy of Guru and Krishna, caused this, could be caused this. But naturally a father wants to bring everyone back home. Sometimes we may take it. The old analogy, you lead a horse to water, you cannot make him drink. So we decided to take a little sip of Krishna consciousness. And hopefully we'll continue drinking that nectar of the lake of Krishna consciousness, and be prepared. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, very quickly he achieved such perfection, and then that swan airplane came, or what kind of airplane came for Dhruva Maharaj? They described that, it come from the spiritual world and taking Dhruva back to the spiritual kingdom. So, people are led to believe that you work for 30, 40 years, hard will give you a good retirement, a good pension, something to look forward to. So Krishna is just asking, just surrender to me, chant, dance, eat prasadam, be happy, and go back to the spiritual kingdom. So this is the best retirement plan. Yeah, it is. So we have to believe it. I was thinking today, I think when you look at the human body, the complexities of the fingers, the bones, the veins, and all the eyes, ears, nose, all the complexities and how everything's working, how people can possibly think it happened by chance. Like who made that body? Oh, over a long period of time, it felt, the hair, the smell, the touch, the taste, and, so much complexity. They can't even make a small little plastic thing, all the scientific brains all together. We can let them do it for a long, long time. They can go on for a long, long time. They can't create even an ant or a mosquito. So obviously, Krishna is there. God is there. And someone says, okay, if you have a God, present him. Who is that God? And if you don't know, then take Krishna, because everything is describing him and glorifying him. I heard today there's so many Ramayans, in all the Vedic literature, the Upanishads, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, throughout the history, so much literature about the Supreme Lord and surrender to him. So who else are we going to perform devotional service to? Might as well surrender to Krishna and take a chance. Like that. Anyway, this is the last verse of the chapter, and we'll be hearing nature, the enjoyer in consciousness. Okay. So one need not bother about materials to keep body and soul together, because by the grace of the Lord, everything is carried out automatically. So, it's described that a devotee has all the good qualities of the demigods, isn't it? And it's not that we have to endeavor separately, let me try to get this good quality, try to get that good quality. Just engage yourself in this process of devotional service, hearing and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then all the good qualities will develop automatically. And Krishna will take care of everything, because we have no expectations. The Goswamis were not expecting anything. Any tree will do. If food comes, it comes. I mean, we're not to that level, and obviously we're trying to make some comfortable arrangements, make sure we have the, I got my little bullet, I make sure it's, the proper thing. But Krishna, he's reciprocating, he's giving. And we're not overly happy that something good came, that's nice, and we lose something, we don't lament, we're not overly happy, but we're fixed in Krishna's service, fixed in devotional service, and like Prabhupada says, make me dance, I'm a puppet. If you're a puppet, you dance. If Krishna, the puppeteer is making you dance. So we all should be in that mood of enthusiastic puppets for Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Comments? Yes? She got her corded microphone back. She didn't like that nonsense wireless microphone. Modern technology.
Hare Krishna. Would you like to share your transition from TM to Krishna consciousness?
Can you put that closer?
You said your friend left, but you still...
Yes. Well, we, I think it was like around 73 or so, we were, when Maharaji was just becoming popular in America, 73, 70, and for a year and a half or till 75, we were both doing transcendental meditation. I was playing in a rock band at the time, and then I met the devotees in Buffalo, New York, 75, and then I started reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting Krishna's holy name, and decided that I wanted to, venture in this path. But then when we were going to be in Washington, my friend came down from Buffalo to visit because we were the devotees in Washington, D.C. with Prabhupada. So I just mentioned that he brought that question up to Prabhupada. And although he was a psychology major at the University of Buffalo and he was very interested, but somehow he just never could, he became like a Christian ultimately. Sometimes people, according to their own ideas of spirituality and maybe fearfulness of having to give up their independence, I think that's what it was, that he wanted to remain independent. I'm not putting down other religions, but sometimes in the name of religion, oh yes, I believe, but then I can do whatever I want, because there's nobody to surrender to really, that Jesus saved me and I'm good, and I'm okay. But I just really felt the presence of Prabhupada and Bhagavad Gita and was happy just to be with the devotees. So it was a quick transition for me. And my friend, he tried for some time in and out, and ultimately became a Christian, did what he does.
Individual destiny like that.
Huh?
That his destiny would be like that.
Yeah. So the transition was, I felt a good transition. I was thankful that I was at least introduced to Bhagavad Gita, but after really understanding to some degree Bhagavad Gita as it is and being with the devotees, it was a completely different experience. It was an exciting adventure. I thought, let's try it. And then, once you enter into the process of Krishna consciousness, it becomes an adventure. Then you think, wow, 40 years went by. What happened? What happened in 40 years? And you remember all those times of Sankirtan, festivals, and the excitement of getting ready for Ramchandra's appearance day, and the whole temple is all green bushes, and devotees are up all night and cooking feasts, and it's just a lot of exciting festive times. It just keeps us going. Isn't it? When you see the beauty of the deities in the temple and the excitement of the devotees, isn't that what really spurs on or keeps us going in devotional life? So after I decided to go forward, that was it. So there wasn't much of a transition. Just, okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Nice class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have one question in this. This is necessary as long as one is not in the association of pure devotees. That is impersonal concept. That means when I was out of Vrindavan, when I was lost the association of the devotees, is it really I am follow the impersonal concept?
Can you say that again? No, the last part. When what?
That is, if I am out of Vrindavan, I lost the association with the devotees. I am follow the impersonal concept.
Well, Prabhupada mantra is, that he's kicking out impersonalism and voidism. So the pure devotee, he connects us to Krishna, that Krishna is a person, the supreme person. So most everyone else has no real conception of God as a person or how to serve Him as a person. It seems like that it's necessary as long as one is not in the association of a pure devotee. That one is meditating, or one might be trying some mystic yoga process or different things. It depends on how you understand it too, the concept. Many times Prabhupada would say something to you in one way and say something to somebody else, that the very same thing in a different way, and people get confused. So my understanding is that without being in contact with a pure devotee, you'd never really have that personal conception or understanding of God as the Father, and that we're servant, and that whole mentality of das anu das, without the pure devotee there, because otherwise everyone's striving on their own. Either I'm going to become God, or I'm just meditating, or I'm interested in philosophy, or this is my religion, and that's your religion. But when you surrender to pure devotee, then that impersonalism fades away, and you understand that I am servant, God's my Father, we're all brothers and sisters, we're all striving for devotional life. That's my understanding. Maybe there's more depth to it. Okay, look at that. I'm very punctual. 6:30, right on the spot. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.